So far in my overview of Mid-Atlantic English, I've only been looking at vowels, because 90% of what differentiates one English dialect from the next is its vowels. But some of our consonants got their own little quirks too. And today's letter of the day is TH. Letter of letters. TH, the. If you want to learn to talk like a Philadelphian, get at saying this sound however you can. The more creative, the better. Turn it into a T, turn it into a D, turn it into an F, cut it out completely. There's pretty much a million great options here. Yeah, just get that thing on Thursday. That big mouth ain't getting nothing from me for his birthday. Yeah, we'll get one whiz wit and one whiz without, please. And I ain't kidding, I really had no idea until just a couple years ago that the word washcloth was not actually spelt with an F. So we don't like our THs, but this, them, they, those ain't quite specific to the Mid-Atlantic. Working class people in pretty much every city that once had a massive immigrant population do that too. Everybody knows that song that goes, "Hello mother, hello father." Pretty sure that's New York. So one thing that's a little bit more unique is the HU in words like human and huge. Watch that H, get that out of there. Do you hear about that humongous blimp that blew up in Jersey? Oh, the humanity. It gets kind of confusing when you're talking to somebody about a guy named Hugh. Yeah, I know you didn't play Wolverine in the X-Men movies, Hugh Jackman did. The only other people that do that besides us are New Yorkers and the Irish around Cork. I'm guessing they brought it over. You. Alright, so another funny thing we do is, on words with STR, we turn the S into an SH. So instead of strong, straight, street, we get strong, straight, street. You hear this a lot watching baseball. Struck him out! It's also pretty important that we're the only part of the East Coast that has always said our R's. Everybody knows Bostonians like to pack the cars in Harvard Yard, and New Yorkers can't be bothered by R's either. Same goes for Norfolk, Virginia, and even Charleston. Don't you see, when British people stopped saying their R's in the early 1800s, all these Tory cities decided to follow suit. Of course, Philadelphia, the revolutionary capital and most uniquely American of all cities at the time, said, "The hell with that, I like my R's, I'm keeping them." That may not have been their exact words. And of course, the rest of the country spreading west sided with Philly and Baltimore in this one. So, saying R's, very important, fundamental part of Mid-Atlantic English, and one of the main differences between us and New York City. But there are a couple instances where we do end up dropping an R. Like if there's more than one in a word, we tend to get rid of one of them, usually the first one. So forward becomes forward, parlor becomes parlor, library becomes library, Gerard becomes Gerard, and quarter becomes quarter. I also bet this is where water comes from. See, my grandparents used to say wash in Washington. It's not nearly as common anymore, but if water got turned into water, then getting rid of that new R could have meant that it wound up as water. Water's a pretty close rhyme to quarter and order, and those two are supposed to have R's. So R is kind of interesting in the Mid-Atlantic, but L is the real kicker. The standard way to say L is to touch your tongue to the back of your teeth, and la la la. But we almost never do that. We make it instead in the back of our throat. Aww. That's why people like to caricature our town's name as Philly with 2 W's. It's also the reason why words like ruler and tail are so hard for people to understand. This is a ruler, and this is a tail. It's also the reason why there's no difference between these anymore. Ale, 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 and ale. And the way we say Oriole sounds to most people like the way they say Oreo. So turning L into a vowel is actually kind of similar to how other accents turn R into a vowel. So in accents where they don't pronounce their R's at the end of words, like British English, they end up sticking R's in places they don't belong. So you know that Beatles song where John Lennon goes, "I saw a film today, oh boy." Where'd that R come from? I saw a film, what is that? That actually happens all the time with English people, Australians, New Yorkers, Bostonians. Remember JFK? "I will nuke Cuba if it's the last thing I do." That's what happened, right? Anyway, Philadelphians do the same thing, but with L. So for us, that song goes, "I saw a film today, oh boy." In fact, there ain't supposed to be any L's in this sentence, but I end up squeezing 2 in there. I'm drawling with a brown marker.